So for our RadRunner 3 Plus review today, I wanted to do something a little different, a little more fun. A lot of times when you see these reviews, it's just people in their garage talking about the bike, or they're like, they got the bike out on the grass in the park, and I'm on the bike right now, and going about 28 miles per hour, giving you the full unvarnished version of our review. So yeah, there's a whole, I've noticed there's a bunch of RadRunner 3 Plus reviews already, so hopefully you guys like this one. Hopefully you enjoy this one a little bit more than some of the other ones out there. So I'm really excited today to review what's, in my opinion, the top of the line Rad Power Bike. Before we get started though, I just want to remind everyone to subscribe to Top 5 E-Bikes if you really enjoy e-bike content. If you really like the videos that Omar and I are putting out, then please subscribe and share this video with your friends. And if I helped you make the decision to buy a RadRunner 3, then by all means, feel free to use the link in our description. Every time you make a purchase using one of the links in our description, it helps support our channel and it helps us continue to make really cool e-bike content like this. So some of you have already seen my previous Rad review, and that was on the Rad City 5. And I'm not gonna do what I did with that video. I was a little critical about the Rad City 5. It wasn't my favorite bike, but this is the RadRunner. And to me, RadRunner is synonymous with Rad Power Bikes. To me, this cargo utility style e-bike is what they're known for. People love this bike, and I'm gonna say this is the best, most premium version of this bike. So like all reviews, I'm gonna do a little bit of specs. I'm gonna layer in some footage from my first test rides just to give you my first impressions. I'm gonna go through pros and the cons, and at the end, I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on the RadRunner 3 Plus. The RadRunner 3 Plus retails for $2,300. It comes as a Class 2 e-bike, but you can adjust the speed limit to 25 miles per hour in the settings. It comes in two colors, charcoal and Boss Moss Green, which is a limited edition color that you see here. The battery is a 672 watt-hour battery with a range between 25 and 45 miles. The motor is a 750 watt brushless geared hub motor with 64 Newton meters of torque. The max load of this bike is 350 pounds, and the weight of the bike is 75 pounds. It's a 7-speed with a Shimano Altus derailleur and drivetrain. It has a cadence sensor, it's got a twist throttle, paddle shifters, and up to 5 levels of pedal assist. Comes with a really bright LED headlight and a rear brake light as well. Comes with a 2-amp charger, and it comes with Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. The front suspension is an RST spring fork with up to 60 millimeters of travel. The tires are 20 by 3.3 inch Kenda K905 tires with a reflective stripe, and they are puncture resistant. The RadRunner 3 also comes with an extra cushion saddle, which is an upgrade from the RadRunner 2. It also comes with front and rear fenders and a rear integrated rack. We're gonna do a little quick test ride, kind of more like a first impressions. I've ridden this bike a little bit. We've got almost 45 miles on this bike so far. So this bike tops out at 20. I've heard that you can, or I've seen that there's videos that will show you how to change the governor to unlock speeds of 25. I'm going 30 right now because I'm going downhill, but I'm getting no motor assistance, obviously. So we know that Rad has a strong focus on rider safety and comfort. And with the RadRunner 3 Plus, going down that hill at blazing speeds of 30 plus miles per hour, there was just no discernible rattle. There was no looseness in the build. This is one of their nicest bikes that they have, and I feel like you really felt it going down that hill. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the handlebars. Again, the BMX style wide grip handlebars. Your palms are just resting flat. Your elbows are at a comfortable angle. It reduces as much stress, reduces a ton of stress on your shoulders and stuff. And you kind of feel that stability, that safety, so to speak, when you're going downhill at high speeds or when you're climbing hills and you're kind of leaning back a little bit. Some of the smaller bikes that have more of the straight handlebar, you're leaning forward a little bit. Your center of gravity is not quite grounded. You're teetering on the edge a little bit and you don't feel like that at all on this bike. So one of the most important upgrades of the RadRunner 3 Plus is the 750 watt motor that this bike comes with now. It's a planetary gear rear hub 750 watt motor. And they don't list what the torque is on the motor, but according to Rad, it's 10% more powerful than the previous motor. So where you're gonna feel that power is mainly on steeper hills. The other super important addition to this bike is that it has 7 gears now. So it's a 7-gear drivetrain, and it unlocks a lot of potential with this bike. We're about to do a pretty gnarly hill, a hill that you cannot do on a lot of e-bikes with, you know, maybe like a 350 watt motor or a single speed e-bike. You wouldn't want to climb this hill with a bike like that, but for the RadRunner 3, it's gonna be no problem. And I'll just show you. When I ride up hills, I kind of try to maintain I'm going 20 right now, but I like to maintain, you know, a 15 mile per hour pace. So we're starting to climb here, and I'm gonna shift. I'm gonna downshift a little bit. All right, so we're at 17. Yeah, and this is very little effort. We're at 17, right? We're still pretty much flying up this hill. I'm at level 5 pedal assist, and we're cruising. 17, no problem. I could put it at 4, probably pedal assist 4, and still, you know, now there's some resistance, a little bit more effort. It's not like I've downshifted to 2nd gear or 3rd gear. We're still at 5th gear. So I could downshift a lot more. Okay. We're at 4th gear, 3rd gear, right? But again, we're in pedal assist 4. So now the hill's flattening out a little bit. Shift back up, put it in pedal assist 5. Wham, 17 miles per hour again. You know, I don't feel like these tires are slowing me down a lot. I feel like I get a ton of traction with these Kenda tires, which are custom made. They're like a Rad Kenda co-brand, which Rad likes to do with a lot of their bikes. They did it with the Rad Wagon as well. So what I mean about the tread and why it's so great on pavement, it's because if you look closely, the tread is like a car tire. It's like the tread of a regular automobile. And it's not the knobby. It's not like the knobby style tire that you see on like the Scrambler, the juice bike Scrambler. Those tires slow you down on pavement. They're just not made for speed on pavement. So I think that's why this tire is kind of in its own class. And I haven't seen a lot of bikes, a lot of fat tire e-bikes that have this type of tire. It's more like a car tire. And that's why, you know, even though it's over 3 inches thick, you still can fly. You still feel like you're in control of the road. All right, we're about to take this on trails now. Let's see how it does on trails. Okay, so now we're off-roading. But this is really hard-packed dirt. And it's a trail. It's worn, well worn by hundreds of people accessing these trails and dogs and patting it down every day. Yeah, so this is a cool bike for this type of trail, this type of off-roading. I wouldn't call this an outdoor bike, but there's definitely, it's outdoor capable for sure. But the front suspension, it's a nice touch. It's something that the RadRunner 2 didn't have. and it's a nice addition for the 3 Plus. One of the things that I like the most about this bike is the frame design. So they completely redesigned the RadRunner 3 Plus. It looks nothing like the RadRunner 2 and the first RadRunner. You'll notice they put these, they added these bottom tubing right here, and it attaches, gets welded here to the seat post in the middle. And they actually increased the wheelbase by 4.5 inches. So it's a little longer than the previous version of the RadRunner. And then the other thing they did is they added these rails here, more tubing right under the integrated rack, as you can see here. So all of that makes for a more rigid frame and just a sturdier bike and sturdier build altogether. They also redesigned the seat, so it's bigger, cushier. It tilts up and down, so if you can make adjustments, if you want, you can make adjustments. You'll see that you can actually lay it flat, and it kind of has this more moped style. Looks kind of cool with, especially if you have the passenger kit like we do here. This passenger kit adds $139 to the total cost of the bike. Bike costs $2,300. So, you know, if you're gonna spend $2,300 on a bike, I think it's worth it to get the passenger kit. It gives the bike a more unique look, and especially if you have, you know, young kids that you're taking to school, perhaps you're taking them to the bus stop or soccer practice. This is kind of a handy accessory here. But they redesigned the seat. I like to keep my seat a little higher because it's just easier for me to pedal. But like I said, sturdier design, more rigid frame, allows for more cargo capacity. So this is now 350-pound cargo capacity. Previous RadRunner was only 300 pounds. More weight on the back, on the rear rack, the integrated rear rack. So all of those things add up to just like a more premium feel to this bike than any other Rad I've ridden. So to me, this feels like a real high quality, well-engineered bike. The other thing you'll notice here is the semi-integrated battery. I'm always praising bike companies that do fully integrated batteries that are hidden in the frame. Rad is getting there. At some point, I think they're gonna release a model with a fully integrated battery. Everyone else seems to be doing it. That seems to be where bike design is going. So I'll be excited when that happens. For now, this is a big improvement on some of the other versions where the battery's just kind of like bolted onto the side of the bike. So yeah, I mean, number one pro, just the design, the look, and premium feel of the C-Bike. All right, so the second thing I really like about the RadRunner 3 is this brushless rear hub motor, and it's a 750 watt motor. It's 10% more powerful than the previous version of this motor, and it's got great low end torque. So this is a nice hill climber. You can see in my first impressions video, this thing just dominates hills, and it's got, you know, it's not going to be the fastest bike, right? That's not the point of a utility cargo bike. But as far as torque, this motor provides decent torque. It's about 64 Newton meters. And more importantly, it delivers that low end torque that helps you get up hills and helps you when you have cargo in the back. And I had a bike trailer hooked up to this. I had my pit bull. He's about 60 pounds, 65 pounds. In the trailer, I was able to pull him in the trailer, get up my driveway, which is kind of steep, no problem. The other thing you're going to notice is this Shimano Acera derailleur here. This is a 7-speed, so it's a big improvement on the original RadRunners. Those were single speed. If you wanted, you know, a derailleur, if you wanted a different drivetrain, you had to upgrade. But this, it's already included, so it makes hill climbing that much easier. So I love that. The components are good quality for this price range. You also get the Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, which makes a huge difference. I love being able to just ride the brake if I'm going down a particular steep hill, and you know, you can just do the one finger braking with those hydraulic disc brakes. It's so easy to brake, so it doesn't require a lot of hand strength, and it just feels safer and more secure, and like you have a lot more control over this bike, which is, you know, fairly heavy at 75 pounds. So good on Rad for making the Tektro hydraulic disc brake standard in this version of the bike. I want to show you a close-up of these Kenda tires. So these are basically custom tires that Rad created with Kenda for this bike. They're 20 by 3.3 inch Kenda K905 tires, but I love these tires. I love the tread on them. It's a good pavement bike, right? You can accelerate pretty quickly. They're nice and stable. They're cushy. They absorb, every crack and bump in the road. So yeah, you can see these K-Rad tires. They have that reflective stripe on the side. Like I said, they're nice and cushy and they're rugged. And yeah, they are a little bit off-road capable, but you're not really going to be taking this bike off-roading too much. This is more about like a utility bike, right? But they go fast on pavement. It feels faster than something like a Venture, right? Or like a Deer. It's like some other fat tire e-bike that has those massive, more off-roady tires. I feel like these are a little bit more optimized for pavement, and they feel just a little faster and like you're getting just great traction on the road. So I really like these tires. So the last pro I wanted to talk about is, of course, what everybody loves about the RadRunner series. It's just the most functional, user-friendly, adaptable e-bike in the Rad fleet. So we have the passenger kit here. I just want to show you how easy it is to remove this rear seat. So there's just a big screw that you can, it's really more of a knob that you can very easily, here, I'll kind of show you here. And there's a big screw that's at the bottom of the passenger seat. So it's super easy to pop that off anytime you want. And then I don't have the 4 bolts, but you have so many mounting points to put this rear rack, so you can put it in multiple configurations if you wanted to. Like I mentioned earlier, because you have the rear rails, you can also add side panniers, right? So that's going to increase your cargo capacity. You can buy those right on the RadRunner site, or you can buy aftermarket side panniers. Some of the aftermarket ones are a little nicer, a little more high-end, and they just look a little cooler. So I have a set where the side panniers kind of rest on top of the bar, and then they kind of clip with clips under Velcro, actually. So it gives the bike a different look. But as you can see, that's the name of the game, adaptability with this bike. There's over 350 configurations according to the Rad site. So, you can get that big center console that goes in the middle. You can get the front basket, rear basket, panniers, trailers, you name it. There's so many different combinations, and just like the practicality of this bike is why people get this bike. So I'd say that's one of the best reasons to get a RadRunner 3 Plus. All right, so let's talk about some cons about the RadRunner 3. I don't have a ton that I don't like about this bike. I think mostly this is a really good bike. The number one con I would say that might deter people from buying this bike is just the price, $2,300. It's kind of pricey. A lot of the bikes that we review are under $2,000. This is $2,300 because it's the most premium of all the Rad bikes, and it has all the best components, including this 750 watt motor. But since we're focusing on the cons, price isn't obviously an issue for everyone, but it might scare some people off from buying this bike. In that case, you might want to get the RadRunner 2 for $1,300. Let's keep going on cons though. This is a repeating theme for me in a lot of my videos. This is just a semi-integrated battery. It'd be cool if they designed a frame with a fully integrated battery. Hopefully that is feedback that the Rad designers are getting, and maybe that's something we'll see in future bikes. The other thing that I think could be better, and I've seen this in other bikes like the Rad City 5, there's no adjustable stem for this bike, and maybe it's because they used these BMX style handlebars. So you can tilt this forward and backwards, for smaller and taller riders, but that's really the only adjustment you can make. So you might want to get an adjustable stem. It gives you a little bit more flexibility when adjusting the handlebars to your desired comfort level. Most riders, between 5'4" and 6'2" are the ones that this bike is designed for. But if you're a lot taller, you might not have another option, right? So you might want that adjustable stem so that you can really adjust the comfort level to your specific body type and your height. So that's just another small con of this bike. So the next con I have is a little bit nitpicky. I don't love the LCD display on this. It's kind of small. It's not as nice as some of the newer bikes I'm seeing, like from Bellatrix and Aventon and even Van Powers, where they just have like a bigger LCD display and a lot of times it's like a full color display with a lot of additional data that you can pull from it. This one's pretty basic. It's a step up from the RadRunner 2, but it's because it has this dual display, whereas the RadRunner 2 didn't even have that center display. So that's something that I hope that you'll be able to upgrade in future editions of this bike. And then the other con I have is just these paddle shifters. I just like the trigger shifters more. I feel like it's easier and smoother to shift between gears. So not a huge deal. That's something you can change and upgrade on your own, but I prefer the trigger shifters. I think they're just a little nicer. Okay, now I'm ready to give you my final thoughts on the RadRunner 3 Plus. I think this is a great bike, and it's a huge upgrade from the RadRunner 2, which was also a really good entry-level cargo utility style e-bike. I would say this is the bike you want if you don't want a cargo bike with a huge footprint that's kind of hard to store maybe in your garage, or if you have limited space. This is a slightly smaller wheelbase. It's easier to ride. It's maneuverable. These custom tires that Rad uses, they're really capable on the road, and you feel a lot of traction. This is a really approachable e-bike that's fun to ride and super, super functional and adaptable. So if you need a bike that's very practical, if you're hauling cargo, if you want like a car replacement, I think this is one of the best options out there right now. I think it's the best Rad Power bike in my opinion. It's definitely the most premium of all the bikes, although next year they're going to come out with new editions of their existing fleet. But right now I would say bang for your buck, this is the best, most high quality Rad Power e-bike. And if it's a little bit out of your price range, that's really my only con about this bike. It's kind of pricey at $2,300 because it just came out. But that means that the RadRunner 2s are now super affordable. They're $1,300 right now. So that's also a great bike. It doesn't have some of the bells and whistles of this bike, like the hydraulic disc brakes and the front suspension, and that motor isn't quite as powerful as this motor, but it's still a great bike. And I would highly recommend a RadRunner to anyone who's new to e-biking, or for someone who's just looking for a more practical daily rider. Thanks for watching our video. We also have a blog, top5ebikes.com. Please check out the blog. We'll have a written review of the RadRunner 3. Plus, right now we have a lot of Black Friday content on there. So if you're looking for deals, now's actually a particularly good time to buy a Rad bike. So check out top5ebikes.com, and thank you so much for watching.
If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment. Visit us at top5ebikes.com or some of our social media accounts. Thank you.